All right. Hi, Johnny. All right. So I was just talking about impression trays, and you have an impression tray in your bag. Those are known as stock trays. They can come metal or plastic. They can be for the full arch or just for the quadrant. Um, and that's what we take alginate impressions in. And alginate impressions, like I said, we can take all day long. The only impression that we cannot take is a final impression. We can help the dentist, but he physically has to put it in the mouth. All right. So with your alginate impression, it's there's a fast set and a regular set. Time's money. Money is time. So typically we use the fast set. It sets up in about a minute, minute and a half. With the regular set, the normal set, it usually sets up in about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. So, and what makes the material? Because when you mix it, it's a powder and it's powder and water. So, if you are doing an upper, you're always going to do 3 scoops of powder. But then you would do two. It's a little cup and it's got little lines on it. You would do 3 lines of water. So if it's 2 scoops of powder, you're going to do 2 lines of water. 1 scoop of powder, 1 line of water. So it's powder and water ratio is the same when you're measuring out for alginate impressions. Typically for uppers, it's 3 scoops. For bottom, it's 2 scoops of powder. And you mix those together, and you've got 30 seconds to get that mixed up, load it in the tray, and get it in the mouth. It sets up pretty quick. So once you get it in the mouth, the heat from the mouth is what makes it set up. So, but y'all actually will get to touch it, feel it, and know it for sure when we get up into clinic. Impression days are always fun. So if you turn the page to page 350, you can see that those perforated trays, they can either be plastic or metal. The plastic ones can be disposable. The metal ones, no, they need to get autoclaved. So, and then the ones below it, it's got a little mesh to it. Those are called triple trays, and triple trays are used to get final impression for crowns and bridges. So they can be either a quadrant or they can be a full arch tray, which is on the top of 351. But how you know that it's a triple tray is the mesh. But y'all will get to know what a triple tray is because we'll touch it, feel it, know it up in clinic. Okay. Below that, a custom tray, it almost looks like a retainer. Almost looks like a retainer. And they would use that if they were going to do implants and they wanted to make temporary crowns from that. They would have a custom tray to make something very specific for that procedure. Sometimes too, guys, those trays that they come extra large, but if you have someone that has a really big mouth, what you can take is rope wax, like ortho wax, and put it around the edge of the tray and get your impression and send that off, and then they would make a custom tray for someone that had a bigger mouth than what the tray can hold. So it's not very common that you get someone with that large of a mouth. All right. Turn the page to 352. So your alginate is the material. It's almost like a gelatin substance, you know, um, and it's a hydrocolloid material. But when we start, um, and that's for alginate, but if we needed to get a permanent, a final impression, we're going to use different types. There's a light body, regular body, and a heavy body, and they're made out of almost like silicone, a silicone. So it's an elastic, rubber-based quality of after setting. Um, and for the final impression, uh, it can either come in a putty, where it would be like silly putty. It would be a catalyst and a base, and you would mix those together and then load that up in the tray. It's just like silly putty. It's a catalyst and a base, and you just mix it up. Um, and they come in tubs. And then at school, y'all are going to learn how to load a triple tray with the final to do a final impression using the heavy body. Um, so I really don't want to get into this too much because you're like, what is she talking about? So good for you. I put some YouTube videos on today's calendar for y'all to watch on how to take a alginate impression and also how you would take a final impression helping the doctor. But what's cool about the polyvinyl material that we use for final impressions is it doesn't shrink. So when we take that final impression for a crown or a bridge, we need to send it off to the lab. Well, the lab is anywhere from China to maybe the same town that you're working in. It just depends on what the doctor who he likes to use. So if we have to send it off, it doesn't shrink. With the alginate, it will start to shrink after 45 minutes. You've got about a 45-minute window before that alginate impression shrinks. So with the polyvinyl, it doesn't. Now on the bottom of 354, y'all see where it looks like a horseshoe. It's a horseshoe shaped at the end and it's got teeth marks. That's another way to get a bat registration. That's actually wax. It's a horseshoe shape wax like this. It looks, can y'all see that? It looks like this. You would get a bowl with hot water, drop this in the bowl, let it kind of get softened, and then you just stick it in the patient's mouth and they bite down. And that's another way to get a bat registration. Super easy. I will show y'all how to pour up your models and go into the description of the two different types of stone that we use. There's model stone, which is yellow, and you can see at the top of 355. It's kind of, well, I don't know what color you want to call that, tan. And then the one next to it, do you see where it's white? So those are two different types of stones that we need to pour the models up in. Because every time we take an alginate impression, remember I said it shrinks, we need to pour it up in stone. And that way it doesn't shrink anymore and we have the impression of the teeth. So the white is model stone and the beige is dental stone. Most times, model stone will be used when they would take impressions for ortho. Now ortho's so fancy, they have a camera and they just take pictures instead of taking actual alginate impressions now. They went and got fancy.
You have to bite down on some tube.
You
They
do?
make you bite down on the tube and they take a picture.
Okay. So almost like getting a bat registration.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And then I will also show you how to trim your models. Once you pour them up, it takes about an hour for them to set to get hard, and then we trim it using the model trimmer. And y'all will learn all that hands-on in clinic. Okay. If you turn to page 356, do y'all see the bowl with the pink stuff inside?
Yes.
Okay, so that's alginate. It was a powder and a liquid, and then they started mixing it up, and that's what gave it that creamy looking consistency. And that is also known as the bowl is called a alginate mixing bowl. All right. So turn to page 360. At the bottom, do you see where it looks like a gun?
Yes.
That's known as an alginate gun. No, it's not. I'm sorry. It's not known as an alginate. That is a impression gun. That's an impression gun. And then do you see the two tubes? One has like purple writing and one has blue writing. So the purple writing is going to be the heavy body, and the blue writing tube is going to be the light body. Okay. And he's going to use the light body and he's going to squirt that material around the tube that he just prepped for the crown. And then we'll take a triple tray, the one with the mesh, and we'll load it up with the heavy body and then hand it to him and he sticks it in the mouth. So I will teach y'all how to do that. Okay. Y'all are just going to do it on each other. We won't do the whole light body stuff, but y'all will take the heavy body and y'all will learn how to load the triple tray. All right. So let's turn to chapter 23. Sorry. So prosthodontics, dentures, and not dentures, but dental implants. Prosthodontics is it can either be fixed or removable. A fixed appliance would be a bridge. A removable appliance would be a partial. And do y'all see this partial? Do y'all see it? Okay, good. All right. That's a partial. It's got acrylic fake teeth, but it's also made out of metal. So when it fits into the mouth, the metal part will hook onto the teeth that are left. So say you just have a few teeth left on the bottom, it just hooks on to there, and then it replaces the missing teeth with these acrylic fake teeth. And this comes in and out of the mouth. A bridge, what I showed you earlier, is permanently cemented on. Now, what size unit bridge is this? Can y'all tell? Sorry. I thought. There we go. How many units is that? How many teeth are on this bridge?
6.
So it's a 6-unit bridge. All right, cool. All right. Also, dental implants provide a natural looking and function for replacement for a missing teeth. Implants. I do think I put a video today on for you to watch what an implant is. An implant. So, say for some reason you lost number 8. Okay, you lost number 8. What they can do is they can go and put an implant, and an implant is a screw, and it screws into your jawbone. And every implant will always have an implant crown. So instead of doing a bridge and filing down 7 that's perfectly healthy and just fine, and 9 that's perfectly healthy and just fine, instead of filing them down and doing a bridge, you can replace it with an implant. So there is, pretty sure I put on the schedule today for y'all to watch what an implant is. If not, go ahead and find a video. Just put in dental implant. Don't put in implants because you're going to get something else. So make sure you put in dental implants. Okay. All right. Turn the page. Okay. So a crown, and do you see the one that says crown? Do you see where it's gold? That's known as FGC. What does FGC stand for? Montana. What do you think FGC stands for?
I have no idea.
It's one of your dental abbreviations. Brissa, do you know? What is that crown
Was it
for?
again?
What does FGC stand for?
Full gold crown.
There you go. Full gold crown. Very good. Awesome. So that's a full gold crown in that picture at the bottom of 368. And so what they have to do is they reduce the tooth, and that looks like tooth number 30. So they reduced it by 2 millimeters all the way around and made it look like a peg. And so, and then that crown fits over the peg. So that is a full gold crown. The one above it is called an onlay. It covers all the occlusal surface. So it just gives it extra strength instead of, it might be a little deeper. The decay might have gone a little deeper than the doctor would like as far as putting in a filling. So he might recommend an onlay, which gives it a lot of strength. And because our molars, that's what we're doing on our chewing, our grinding, our clenching. So he'll want to maybe recommend to the patient to put a onlay, which covers all of the occlusal. Now the one on top of that, that is called an inlay. And an inlay just covers part of the occlusal and then either the mesial or part of the occlusal and the distal. But again, it's for that extra strength instead of just putting a filling. Now, there on page 369 is a bridge. How many units is that bridge, Lindsay?
3?
3. Exactly. 3. So, do you see where it's the gold? No, those are your abutments. So what's the fake tooth called? Shoot. What's the fake tooth called? Remember I said that girl I went to high school with? She was real fake.
The Pontiac?
It's a ponic.
Ponic. That's
Yeah,
what it was.
good. Awesome. Okay. And then the tooth below it that looks like it has bat wings on it. That is called a Maryland bridge. And not many people do a Maryland bridge anymore. They would do an implant because all it does is those little wings on the side would cement. Say that's tooth number 9. The wings on the side would cement to the lingual surface of 8 into tooth number 10. So most people like to go with, and they don't last forever. I mean, can they? Yes, but you're putting so much force biting into stuff, like pizza and this and that. So most people will go with a implant. Turn the page. All right. A buildup. So at the bottom of 370, that figure 23/3, do you see where it's silver? It looks like a little peg and it's silver on the end. That is a buildup. That is a buildup. And whenever they do a crown, most of the time they're going to do a buildup. So they would remove the decay, put the buildup material in, and then shave it down. Hey. And then they'll shave it down and make it look like a little peg. That way the crown can fit on top. Okay? So if you look at, do y'all see that x-ray?
Yeah.
Do y'all see where it looks like a post in the middle of the tooth? It's actually a post. So what every single tooth that has had a root canal necessarily doesn't need a post, but if the tooth needs a post, it has to have a root canal. You can't do a post without a root canal. Okay? Sorry, I had some visitors. All right. Every time that they do a crown, they're always going to send that off to the lab, and then the patient will wear a temporary crown until the permanent crown is made. And I will teach y'all how to make a temporary crown in clinic. Anytime that we have anything made, like a partial, a denture, a crown, a bridge, we always have to do fill out a lab script. And every lab is different. Every lab has their own different lab script. So when you start at your office, the assistants will show you how to fill out the lab script. But know that the dentist always has to sign it and put his license. So, and the lab has to have it to be able to make anything that we send them. Without it, they can't make anything. So I showed y'all a partial. So a lot of times when they go to make a partial, it's a few visits, 3 to 4 visits. So the first visit will take a alginate impression. We will. And then the lab will send some framework. It doesn't have any teeth on it. It's just the framework. Y'all see that? It's metal. So they'll send framework, and then we try the framework in for the patient. If that fits good, then we send it back and we tell them, please add teeth and wax. So then they'll send back the partial with wax and fake teeth in the middle. We try that in. We're looking to see, does the patient like the color of the teeth, the shape of the teeth? Is the height, how much they put it in the wax? Does it need to be a little taller, a little shorter? You know, is the patient's bite open or is it too closed and makes them look like their face is sunk in? So if all that looks good, then we send this back to the lab and we say, please process and finish. And then the teeth will go from being in wax to being in acrylic. And then they get their permanent, their final product. So whenever they get their final product, the doctor has to put it in the mouth. We are not allowed to. Okay. So it's called a seat. Anytime that we're going like a seat crown, seat partial, seat denture, it's the final. So that way you know that's not something you can do. Same thing with a denture. The denture replaces all the teeth. Chop, chop, chop. Okay, you're chompers. So, same thing. We would get an alginate impression, send it off. They would send. They're gonna send some framework that's gonna be like in wax, maybe just in wax. A lot of wax, and so they'll put that in the patient's mouth. If it's too much wax, the dentist will have a sharp knife that he heats up with fire and he kind of melts it down where it needs to be. So once he does his adjustments, the dentist does, then we would send that wax to the back to the lab, tell them please set up and please set teeth in wax. So then again, they'll send it back and it will have teeth in wax. Try it in. Patient's looking at color, they're looking at shape, all that goodness. And then if that looks good, if the patient's happy and the doctor's happy, then they say, please process and finish. And then they send back the finished product. And then the doctor has to put that in the mouth. He has to seed it. And do y'all see the picture of 377 on where it's like pink and white impression?
Yeah.
That would be known as a final impression that the doctor would take. It's called a system 1. And so if the patient already has dentures, say they got dentures when they were 20. Well, as they've gotten older, their gums have shrunk, the bone is shrunk. So they just want a whole new denture, whole new denture. So what they would do is get an impression using the system 1. It's a final impression. So the dentist will mix his stuff, you'll mix yours, but y'all will be doing it together, and it will come out looking like that. And it's a powder and water ratio, but it's not alginate. It's like alginate where it's a powder and water ratio, but it's called system 1, and it comes in like a package, like oh, I don't know, a Kool-Aid package looking package. Because sometimes when the patient does want dentures, they'll do what's called an immediate denture, and that's where they'll extract most of the teeth in the back. They'll leave as many as they can in the front. We'll get several impressions, okay? we'll do a lot of try-ins with the wax and the waxen teeth and all that. But the day that we go to deliver that final product, the final denture, the dentist will extract the remaining teeth, put the denture in, and that's known as a immediate denture. And the denture will act as a band-aid, and the patient will wear it for 24 hours, come back in, the dentist will take it out. Because if the patient takes it out and tries to get it back in, they may not be able to get it back in because of all the swelling. So the denture will act as the band-aid. But that's known as an immediate denture, where they take the rest of the teeth out right before they place the final denture. All right. Implants. This is the most common, and if I ever had to get dentures, I would definitely want implant dentures for sure. So turn to page 381. So implants, it's about a 3-month process from beginning to end. They place the implant, they screw it into the bone, and you see how it does. It looks like a screw. They screw it into the bone. They put a little cover screw on top. They let it heal for 3, it could even go up to 6 months, just depending. And then they put an abutment on there. They get an impression with the abutment. Using the light and the heavy body, they get an impression, send that to the lab. The lab makes them a crown, and the crown just fits right on top of the screw. So that is what an implant tooth looks like. Now, for dentures, especially lower dentures, if you have a little or hardly any bone on the bottom, that denture rocks and rolls. It's not very stable. And so if you notice at the top of 381, you see the silver implants in the bone, in the gum. Those are implants. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They did five implants. And then those are actually, that's an implant denture. And I have one. Do y'all see those holes right there in this denture? Holding up. Okay, so it's almost like, have y'all ever had a pearl snap shirt? It's just like that. So those implants in the gums just snap into those holes. And then that way the denture is secure and it doesn't rock and roll. Pretty cool.
Do you still have to take them out at night?
Yes, you do. Yep. Yeah, dentures need to come out at night because the tissue needs to breathe. Your tissue needs to breathe. If not, you can get, anybody remember? It's a yeast infection in the mouth. It's called oral candidiasis. Oral candidiasis. And actually, people, you still have to get those implants clean. They have a special instrument that cleans around those implants. So, and then with dentures and with partials, after the patient gets them, it's not like, okay, adios, have a good life. They're going to still come back and get some adjustments. It might be that they have a sore spot that's rubbing. There's one little spot, and so the dentist will adjust it. Once you've been in the field long enough, you'll get to know how to adjust those little sore spots. If that's something that your dentist is willing to show you how to adjust on a partial or a denture, how to relieve a sore spot. So, and then like with those immediate dentures that I told you about, where they extract the teeth, the remaining teeth. So an immediate denture, um, about a month later, after the gums have quit swelling and starting to heal, the mouth is going to change. So that denture will start being loose. So they'll have to put a reline material, an acrylic reline material in the denture um, to help re-secure it again. So I like dentures and partials. They're fun. They're fun. Any questions on those chapters? No? Okay. And Lindsay, don't worry about reminding me at 6 o'clock because I'm going to be here from at the school from now on. So I will remember before I leave because I won't take my book home. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right, guys. I'll see you on Monday.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.